Hello everybody, a little bit of a pruning masterclass here today. I've been working on my system for the last couple of weeks. Basically, I've opened up all of my productive rows. As you can see here, it's all opened up. And now what I want to do is to start to work on my support rows. Because the climate has changed, it's now much darker, it's now much colder, it's now much wetter than we've had, so seasons has definitely changed, and now is the opportunity to start to mold the whole system into that direction. Basically, we need a little bit more airflow, we need a little bit more light. I mean, this is as bright as we've had for the last maybe 15 or 20 days. We probably got in that time maybe 200 mil worth of rain. We are getting rain every day, 10, 15, 20, 30 mils every day. So the plants are starting to suffer a bit. We can see that there is a fair bit of leaf cutter end damage there. The plants are not quite able to photosynthesize as much as we would like to. So we want to open up, add more light, a little bit more airflow to start to, work with this new season. So one of the things that I really want to do today is work on, the Mexican sunflower. We've got a few castor oils as well, somewhere there. We've got, of course, our bananas, which is kind of playing that dual purpose between being a service plant, but also a productive plant. We're still deciding which one will be which. And then work with our eucalyptus as well, because of the wind that we get here, they get blown away. And I don't want them to get just too far up. I want to maintain the stratas. I want to maintain a bit of a gap that encourages the bottom strata to push up, but not too big of a gap where the wind can come through and make a bit of a mess. So we do get a lot of wind here. So part of the game that I want to try here for the first time in this system is to basically thin out the Mexican sunflower, but don't lose that kind of shape, that gesture of a bit of a wall. So I'm going to be removing a lot of those Mexican sunflowers that are pointing out, that are moving towards my productive rows, but I'll leave some into that. Another idea that I've been having is, we want to have more flowers. Sometimes in Syntropic Ag, people are a little bit afraid of flowers, and I see people with their secateurs kind of manicuring things, and that's not the game. The game is to have some flowers in our systems. If we can have always something flowering, then we are winning, because we're going to have all this insect diversity into it. And I think the Mexican sunflowers can do that job for us. I actually think that the Mexican sunflower might be able to have all stages of growth in one plant. So we're going to have some plants putting a flower, not quite yet there. And then as I'll prune down the bottom, we're going to have some young shoots and some older shoots. So I'm hoping to then be able to have this movement where I come and I intervene, but I maintain the wall, I maintain the wind protection as much as I can. And I've got flowers, but I also got regeneration. I've got things moving along. So that's the game for this morning. Just gonna, take that little 5-meter stretch here just to show you the steps. And I like to work with one plant or one type of plants at every time, rather than go and do everything at once. So when I come to manage that whole row, first stage, I'm gonna just do the obvious, which is work with the Mexican sunflowers. So I'll just do that first. I'll work with the Mexican sunflowers on both sides of the bed, and then I come and I observe and see what else is happening, what else do I need to remove. Shall we get going? Let's do it. So now things haven't opened up quite a bit already, but we're still maintaining that wall shape. We're still maintaining the structure that we want, but it's a much more permeable wall. So air will flow a lot more now, but hopefully when the winds are super strong, it still buffers us a little bit. So with all the Mexican sunflowers, basically I remove all of the clumps to maybe 1 or 2 stronger plants, more upright plants, more in the center of the bed plants, right? Because that's the structure that I want to go. I don't want them leaning over my productive trees. So now what I gotta do, I want to work a little bit with the castor oils. There isn't too many here. We've been working with them. It's such a wonderful plant to work with. But basically what I want to do is still maintain a height, because I want them to kind of fill that area a bit for wind protection, as I've been saying. But I really want to remove the seeds. You know, I don't really need those plants to go into seed production. It is a different dynamic for the plant when they really start going to seed production, although the castor oil is very powerful and you can see that's not really impacting, it's still growing a lot. But I don't need any seed, so I've got plenty of seed, so I don't need that slight disruption. But if I do need it, maybe every 3 or 4 or 5 plants I leave the seeds. So I love the flowers, but the seed is another step in a direction of fire, in the direction of air. Where I'm looking here is growth, with its mineral, its earth and water. So that's what I'm trying to balance the system. So I'm gonna work with those castor oils. There isn't too many here, there is a few there for me to just prune. After that I will basically remove those spent leaves from the bananas that are not doing anything more. You know, we had lots of wind, so we have kind of really dead banana branches that are not doing anything, so there is no reason to leave them there. Also, what I want to do here is our Brazilian fern tree. As you can tell as well, there is some leaves that I spent, and I want to just open it up a little bit, bring it up, so we start to play a little bit with strata. We want to have a little bit of a gap, not a huge gap, so I'm going to be pruning that as well. And then we will observe again, see if we need to remove a few more plants. This is a native papaya type of plant, which I actually, when they were close to my productive trees, I have basically managed them hard. Here I'm gonna let them be, but they really get smashed by the wind. As you perhaps can see here, the central trunk has completely been obliterated, but it's so productive that it just keeps coming. So I'll clean that up as well. I might leave maybe 1 or 2 branches. However, because it's fragile with the wind, maybe leaving 4 or 5 as a cluster, they will be able to withstand a little bit more of that pressure. Right, so let's do that and see how it ends up. Nice. Things are starting to get there. I don't know if you can feel it, but I can even breathe better. It's usually that feeling sensation that we've got when we start to manage those systems. So here we've got the Brazilian fern tree. So I left 4 or 5 leaves on the top there. Nice, still protecting a bit. I always remember to organize things. So it's not chop and drop. It's about pruning and organizing. So you will notice that I've pruned all of them close to the trunk here. I'm not using a machete and going rough and quick. That is not the game. The game is clean cut, well organized material. So now we can have a look and see, okay, what else do I need to do here? We've got this Lucina plant that is kind of have this floppy gesture. So I have to keep trying to organize it to move up. So I'll be pruning them. I'll find a bud that is pointing forward, like this guy here, and I'll chop it there, close to it, trying to give an information that, hey, up we go. Still a bit bendy, maybe not so good. I'm gonna go on that one behind here, which is also going up, and I'll go, how about this one? Yeah, that looks a lot better. So step by step, as we know, the better we get, we're gonna go that in the first place. This one is really flopping over. Again, bud pointing up. Done, job done. This one here as well, another one. Let's just organize it. Don't be afraid to prune hard some of those productive plants. That's what they are there for. So castor oil now, it's balanced. There was a couple of growth coming from below that I didn't want to, because it was gonna go boom and out, and that's not what I wanna. So I wanna organize things in the center to compact them, have a narrow wall. Right, bananas are looking much cleaner. You know, still shredded by the wind, but that's okay, still doing photosynthesis. Usually with banana we remove the leaves that are obviously dead, they are just brown, but also the yellow leaves. But we need the mass of leaves in order to have a bigger bunch. So we are working with those here. In this clamp here we've got 3 bananas of pretty much the same age. Mother banana in the center has been removed, it actually has fallen over. So it's one of the observations I'm doing with the banana pups that we bought, which they are clone banana pups. So I can't plant as deep as we usually plant in Syntropic. As we get the pups out of the banana, we put it deep upside down, and there's a whole process for it. So it really anchors the banana in the ground. Those one here that we buy as a little seedling baby, probably about 20 centimeters tall, we can't go very deep, so they become a little bit wobbly. And as soon as a bunch comes, we run the risk of it falling, especially in an area that has so much wind like we do. So I'm gonna leave the 3 of them for now. I haven't decided which one will be the next mama. I will have to do a bit of pruning, but again, here they are a little bit in a service position too. But that's it, so I cleaned that up. Another castor oil here, another leucaena there. There's a couple of leucaenas here growing in the center, which it's not bothering me, it's not getting out, it's kind of a little bit locked into. We've got a cassava here, which it's been here for 2 years, since the beginning of the system. I don't think it's going to produce. I mean, now, even if I wanted to harvest, I wouldn't be able to. So I'm going to give them a prune, just going to bring them down a bit. I know that they want more light, but I think it's just clogging up a little bit. So I'm just going to give a nice prune here on the top, on the head. And another one there. Hopefully just to stimulate it, just to release a few sugars, a few hormones, and feed the banana. That whole beautiful story that you all heard about in Syntropy. It's true. It's not so fantastic, but it is true. Right, so one more thing for us to do in that scenario here. I'm happy with the shape, I'm happy with the density, I'm happy with how things are moving, but I'm not too happy with the eucalyptus on the top. So I'm gonna go there. The beauty of those eucalyptus at the moment that they are still young is that basically I can just do that. So I wanna limit the height a bit. So I'm actually gonna cut its head just a bit, and then I'm gonna lift its skirt a bit. So I'm gonna leave about four branches on the top, and I'm also gonna thin those 4 branches too. So I'm not gonna lose the architecture of the plant, but I'm significantly reducing the leaf density, and I'm gonna open it up a bit. So if you go there, similar height to our Brazilian fern tree there, so they are occupying that emergent strata. I'm gonna do the same with the other eucalyptus there. I'm gonna lift that one a little bit more, so I wanna see those different layers a little bit more defined. Not super defined because I'm allowing a wall structure, but a bit better. So let's just take those other 3 eucalyptus and let's see how the picture is and make a decision. Do we need to do any more? So I think we finished, right? Now we can see a little bit of separation there from the banana to the eucalyptus. The eucalyptus is kind of in a good height. This is probably the last time that I will be able to do that bending on the eucalyptus. So from now on, I gotta be careful. I do have a pole pruner to prune them when I need, and I do have, a few eucalyptus that are quite tall that I will use the pole pruner. But I think this is it, As you can tell, structure has been maintained, function has been maintained, but the load has been decreased. With conscious pruning and organizing, look at the amount of this organic matter that we've got here. I mean, this is gold, right? And I see a lot of people, getting too worried about a little bit of grass. It's part of the game. If I'm gonna be here sitting down and removing every single bit of grass or every single bit of weed that shows up, I'm not gonna be able to manage. I've got here on this little system, there is almost 500 meters worth of beds. So if I'm gonna do that, that's it. It's game over. My life is just gonna be on my knees. So we gotta learn to allow nature to move, to show new plants, and we just keep working with those processes, right? And this is a key process. We are not managing for fruit. We are managing for ecological processes. We are managing for life to prosper. So we are making decisions based on our ability to foresee the future through some weather patterns, through our experience of living on this land, what happened last year, what happened the year before, and through our observation of what's happening right here, right now. So if I observe the climate has changed, I know that when this climate changed, now we've got 1 or 2 or 3 months of darkness, of wetness. The leaf curl ends are telling me that the climate has changed and the leaves and the plants wanting more light, wanting more airflow. So here I am showing up and making sure that the job is getting done on a timely manner. I see a lot of people out there just coming, especially for machete. A machete is not a good tool to manage your agroforest system. No matter what all the Brazilians are saying, it's not. It's a great tool to manage bananas, absolutely. It's a great tool if you want to cut the grass, great. But to come and manage the Mexican sunflowers, managing the castor oil, manage the Brazilian fern tree, manage the eucalyptus, it's not a good tool. It does not prune, it just whacks at it. So make sure you're choosing appropriate tools, good quality tools, tools that will last but that will do a clean job. Learn to prune. And now what we're going to learn is to observe. So we gotta show up here, maybe in a week's time, 2 weeks time, what's happening? How are this space being filled? How are my productive plants enjoying that extra flow, that extra light? I hope that was useful. I've been doing this for more than 10 years. I know what I'm doing. If you want to learn more, I've got a range of courses that will teach you to go from a really degraded land. I mean, this land here, pH 4.5, really degraded. Nothing really growing on it apart from ferns, bracken ferns, very high aluminium. And with minimal inputs, yes, I did bring a little bit of calcium, a little bit of phosphorus, a little bit of nitrogen. We bring a little bit of those tools. We just can't get addicted to them. But hey, we got life flourishing. Most of my productive plants are still here. They might not be pumping yet because it's part of the process. They need to learn to feed for themselves. Like this little fig here needs to learn to feed for themselves. And it takes a bit of time because they come from nurseries where they are basically being force-fed with salt-based fertilizers and things like that. So it takes a while for nature to come in. I've got quite a few animals that come in. I'm not sure if we're gonna be able to show here, but there is, look at that. So this I've organized it yesterday. This was organized yesterday. So we've got a little native boar that is coming in and just doing that kind of damage. So I have to come and organize and keep that momentum, keep that flowing going. There will be lots of beings that will show up. There will be lots of wildlife that will show up because we are increasing life. Once we increase life, we attract life, and we have to allow that life to come, right? If we want to go back into tigers and the megafauna or whatnot, or mammals, we gotta go through the rats and through the rabbits and through the snakes and through all of that process, that living process. And our participation is to observe, to bring pieces from the outside if we need it, and to organize it. Getting blessed by a bit of rain, so I better cut it short here. I really hope that was useful. If you need any help, send me a message, send me an email, WhatsApp, and I hope to see you in one of my courses. Take good care, and I better get out. Bye.